My name is Facilitator Oluwatola Meke Success, and I want to encourage you, if you are yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, quickly do that right now. All what you need to do is to locate the subscription button and make sure that you like the video, and you can also share it with your loved ones. So today we want to consider quadratic equation as a topic. What is quadratic equation? Quadratic equation is the second degree polynomial that has a standard form of as squared plus bs plus c, and s is an unknown variable where a, b and c are constant value provided that a is not equal to 0. And you have to note that the highest power of s is 2. It must not be greater than 2, and it cannot be less than 2. Then we have 4 methods of solving quadratic equation. Number 1, we have factorization method, quadratic formula, completing the square method, and graphical method. Today we want to explain factorization method. What is factorization method? This method is by getting two factors which are the products of the constant value that we have. And addition of those factors will give the coefficient of s. So for instance, we want to solve 3 relevant examples on this topic. So we want to solve quadratic equation using factorization method. Number 1, we have s squared plus 6s plus 9 is equals to 0, and we have s squared minus 8s plus 15 is equals to 0, and we also have a 6y squared plus 5y minus 6 is equals to 0. Let's solve question 1. S squared plus 6s plus 9 is equals to 0. All what you need to do is to multiply what you have here. By the time I multiply s squared by 9, I'm going to have 9s squared. So you will ask yourself, what are the two numbers, what are the two factors of 9 that I will multiply by itself and it will give me 9, and when I add it or probably subtract from each other, I'm going to have 6. But you have to note that the sign in the front of the coefficient of here of s is very, very significant. So what are the two numbers that you can multiply together that will give you 9? Number 1, you can multiply 1 and 9 together. You have 9. What of the other number? The other number should be 3 times 3. So between these two numbers, which one can you relate? 3 plus 3 will give you 6, and 3 times 3 will give you 9. So we are going to use this. Then you have, which sign will be in the front? You have plus 6 here. That means you must have plus 3 plus 3. And you have s here. So that means you are going to have s here. So this will give us s squared plus 3s plus 3s plus 9 is equals to 0. Then the next thing to do is to group them. So you put them in brackets. Then you bring out the common factors. So for instance, you have s squared here and you have 3s here. What is common is s. By the time you bring out s, out of s squared, you have only one s remaining, plus 3. What do you have in common here? That will be plus 3 in bracket of s plus 3. And I want you to note something here. After factorizing, what you have in this bracket must be equivalent with what you have here. If they are different, even if the sign is different, it simply shows that you are wrong. So you choose one of this that is outside, then you choose one within the bracket. So we are going to have s plus 3, which is the one outside, s plus 3. Then one of the two that we have here within the bracket, we have s plus 3, which is equals to 0. If you look at it very well, you'll be having s plus 3 is equals to 0, or s plus 3 is equals to 0. So you have x is equals to minus 3, and it's the same answer that you have here. So you only write s is equals to minus 3 twice. The second question, you have s squared minus 8s plus 15 is equals to 0. So you repeat the same process. You multiply together. And by the time you multiply, you'll be having 15s squared. So what are those two numbers that you multiply together that will give you 15? And when you add them, or probably subtract, you are going to have minus 8. The best way to do this is to list all the factors of 15. What are the factors of 15? You have 1 times 15, then you also have 3 times 5. You cannot add this, neither can you subtract it. If you add it or subtract it, it can give you minus 8. So you have minus 8 here. How will you operate this? So you are going to have minus 3 minus 5, which will give you minus 8. And you have x here. So you are going to have x here. You are going to have x here. So you end up having s squared minus 3s minus 5s plus 15 is equals to 0. Then you group them. You put them in a bracket. So what is common here? You have x. What will you have left? You have x minus 3. So you can even know whether you are correct or not. By the time you multiply s by s, you are going to have s squared. And by the time you multiply x by minus 3, you are going to have minus 3x. So what is common here? You have minus 5. So you are going to have x minus 3 is equals to 0. Some of you might ask, why do I change the sign here? It's because if you have minus 5 here, minus times minus will give you plus. So if you put plus here, that means minus times plus. Remember from my video in the operation of sign, we are going to have minus. So that's why we change it to minus. Minus times minus will give us plus. So all what you have here will now be s minus 3 in bracket of s minus 5, which is equals to 0. So s minus 3 is equals to 0, or s minus 5 is equals to 0. So s is equals to 3 or 5. These are the two possible answers that you have. And by the time you substitute these values into this equation, into this quadratic equation, it will give you 0. It will give you 0. So you can even know whether you are correct or not. Then the third one that I want to solve for today is 6y squared plus 5y minus 6 is equals to 0. So you are going to multiply what you have here, then you end up having 36y squared. So what are the factors of 36? You have 1 times 36, you have 2 times 18, you have 3 times 12, and you also have 4 times 9. So which one of these two factors can you add or probably subtract that will give you plus 5? If you take note very well, it will be 4 and 9. So how will you relate this? You have plus 5 here, so this will now be minus 4 plus 9. That is the only way you can have plus 5. So you are going to have 6y squared minus 4y plus 9y minus 6 is equals to 0. So you bring out the common factor. So what's the common factor here? The common factor here will be 2y. And by the time you bring out 2y, for you to have this 6y squared, you have to multiply it by 3y. 2 times 3 will give you 6. Y times y will give you y squared. Minus 2 plus 3. 3 is the common factor here. So you are going to have 3y minus 2 is equals to 0. Then you pick one that is outside, then you pick one within the bracket. So you have 2y plus 3 is equals to 0. And you have 3y minus 2 is equals to 0. So you will end up having 2y plus 3 is equals to 0, or 3y minus 2 is equals to 0. So this one will give you 2y is equals to minus 3, or 3y is equals to plus 2. Then y will be minus 3 over 2, or y is equals to 2 over 3. So therefore, y is equals to minus 3 over 2, or 2 over 3. Thank you.